You are listening to the Willpower Podcast. Welcome to the show. I am Will Holdren, and I talk with some of the most influential CEOs, entrepreneurial leaders, and thought leaders to try and reveal the secrets that has led to their success. I believe that with the right knowledge and mindset, you can do anything you set your mind to. So if you want to learn how to change your life for the better, if you want to learn how millionaires actually became wealthy, or if you want to develop and start your own business from the ground up with the right knowledge to help you, then you are in the right place because this is the Willpower Podcast. Attention, self-employed professionals and business owners. Are rising healthcare costs weighing you down? Well, it's time to make a change. Introducing Impact Healthcare, your path to savings. With us, you can save up to 50% on your monthly healthcare expenses. Our flexible plans are designed to fit your needs, and our user-friendly app puts healthcare in the palm of your hand. Join the thousands who have already made the switch to Impact Healthcare and take control of your healthcare costs today. If you're interested, click the link in the bio of this episode and give yourself a free quote to see for yourself the amazing savings that you can get with Impact Healthcare.
Nowhere that we go is a one-way street. Nothing that we love is a one-day key. And if we gon' do it, we gon' do this now. And if we say we gon' hold this down.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Will Holdren. I'm the host of the Willpower Podcast. Guys, today we have an amazing and very special guest, and his name is Troy Hoffman. I'm so honored to have him on here with us today. Troy is actually the founder of a company called Simpluris, and they're ranked 171 on the Inc. 500 fastest growing companies in America, which is outstanding. And on top of that, he's also featured in Forbes and a number of other fancy articles just like that. And that is his company is nationally recognized for their claims administration with over 70 employees growing each and every day. And they manage the administration of complex class action lawsuits and also mass tort cases. So, which is amazing. So Troy, first and foremost, thank you so much for joining me today.
All right. Well, I love that you got this show going. This is awesome, man.
Yeah.
This is great. So how did you get this whole show going? Why are you doing this show, man? It seems like it's a really kind of a cool vibe.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So I started this about, 5 years ago now. So I've been doing it for quite some time. Initially, I just wanted to kind of go out there and learn how to network with people. I come from a very small town and I wanted to find out what other people are doing to become successful in today's world. And so the easiest way I could do that was make a podcast and interview entrepreneurs that are actually going out there and making it happen. So I started doing that, and now I love just using this to help inspire other people as well. I think younger kids really just need a light out there. I think this is one of the best ways to do it, especially with all the chaos going on in the world. I mean, someone's got to deliver the message, man, of financial freedom and what that looks like.
Yes. Well, yes. Yeah, it's hard because if you don't know, you just don't know what you just don't know.
Exactly.
Like even yesterday, we interviewed my friend Sean was going to try to hop on, and we're doing these weekly lives on Instagram right now, right?
Yeah.
And so he couldn't make it. He's stuck on the tarmac somewhere. Our flights have been horrendous this last week for whatever reason with all this going on. So he said, hey, I've got this guy you've got to get on. I was like, okay, great, let's meet him. Young guy, started making a TikTok channel blows up, gets in cold plunging. Next thing you know, they say, we have a cold plunge business we're building, do you want to come run it? He said yes, and he's super young and he's crushing it. He's going to scale there. They're in their first round of funding. They're valuing at $5 million. They're raising $1 million right now. They've already got 80 people requesting a franchise right now.
Wow.
Already online to go build these cold plunge / hot saunas around the nation. Franchise, and he's like, it was just neat. I mean, there's just endless opportunity. There's endless things to do. I mean, there's just so many ways to make money. And I get to I'm lucky enough now that I'm usually the guy behind the guy. I get to go behind famous people or go into other companies now and help them grow and scale and help founders figure out how to grow, scale, and exit. Basically, where do they do their wealth planning? I literally, right before I just talked to a guy that's worth over $100 million in hard assets and money in cash.
Jeez.
So total real estate that he actually owns 100% of, plus hard cash combined. No inflated numbers, no inflated valuations, purchase price only. Some of this stuff was purchased 20 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the guy, and we're just going in more depth, going, okay, how do you do better current tax planning, income planning, and plus estate planning, right? And what does that really look like? And you just don't know. And he's a super, super high-end attorney, super.
Yeah.
And you just don't know what you just don't know. That's why watching shows like yours, getting involved, even doing what you're doing, asking the right questions to the right people at the right time is going to give you this information in your head that you're just like, holy shit, I can do all these things. I mean, I wish I would have had more of this when I was younger because they didn't have the internet back then. That's how old I am now, Will. Like it just came out. It wasn't doing much of anything, like not like today. And the coaches were like senior core of retired executives from NASA. They didn't build and run and scale companies. They knew nothing about running anything under 5,000 employees. Like they couldn't even fathom what goes on. And they're trying to tell us what to do. And it's just a different mindset. So being in this space, you're kind of lucky to find these people. So keep going. We'll ask your questions. Sir.
No, 100%. I'm agreeing with you. You know, there's so many ways nowadays, especially to make money. I think one of the things, there's a lot of clutter out there for younger kids, you know, people that decide what they want to do. Like you said, in social media, you can see so many people going in so many different directions, whether it's crypto, real estate, whatever, right? There's so many different things to go after. And it's hard for people to kind of narrow down anyway. And that's just what I've seen from people around me, like younger people, instead of just diving into something, following through on that something, building it into something great, you know, because what you do is Simpluris, right? So it takes time. You just got to realize that stepping into it. So my first question for you anyway is how did you end up starting company Simpluris? How old are you when you got into that business to begin with? And why did you decide to go into that arena of all the other things you could have done?
So I think the backstory short, like legitly making money. I mean, I did everything from kind of working jobs, but also a lot of it was like painting numbers on sidewalks or house numbers every year to people, you know, mowing lawns, detailing cars, had like the basic business. You know, did that always, and then did some lifeguarding and even washed dishes as a kid because I love this restaurant, working this Chinese. So I just worked a lot. All my friends worked. We all worked together. That was our sports. That was our party. That was our activity. That was like kind of our lifestyle. So made pretty decent money, even young, and then tried going to one semester of college. Didn't really like it. And I literally went to massage school first. So I just kind of kept doing massage. And I started going, okay, massage isn't going to get me anywhere fast because I thought I was going to med school. I'm like, I don't want to go to med school. My dad kind of talked me out of that. And I was like, okay, let's build a business. And it just kind of started with the t-shirts and then stickers and hats, doing youth conferences and Amway conferences. And then we did a business called Value Web. We started creating websites and back-end shopping cart technology back in 95, we started rolling it out. By 96, it was like a legit operation. And we started doing larger deals. We didn't have good contracts, shitty coaching, like we were talking about before. We had, it was great. I mean, the fact people are doing it, any coaching at all was amazing. Called Senior Core of Retired Executives, called SCORE at the time. But there wasn't the entrepreneur community of today. There wasn't the Instagram, the Facebooks, the YouTube. I mean, now you can Google anything. There's a YouTube about it. Like I literally Google and I watch online education for everything. Even at this age, like I probably spend 2 to 4 hours a day still learning because there's just so much massive amounts of information. And then things change, even the way QuickBooks does something or the new feature in QuickBooks. I mean, like whatever it is. So you're jiving it from very one person business style to several hundred business person style, right? And you got to be able to quickly understand the different concepts to people that are worth hundreds of millions, right? So you need a large breadth of information and things are constantly changing, right? So I went bankrupt in those two companies because I didn't have the right people coaching me. I didn't have the right people speaking in my ear. I didn't know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. I had no experience in business. I had no one telling me you're supposed to even file taxes. I didn't even know what taxes were. Like literally, I had no idea, right? Like I didn't even know what a CPA even was. I was just doing stuff, right? And I think that's why you see so many people that are either like broke in their early 20s or making like $1 million a month or $100,000 a month. There's this crazy diversity. And like when I'm traveling with my wife a lot lately, I mean, we'll be in Thailand and you'll meet some like 23-year-old crypto billionaire or something crazy. Like it's just, we hung out with this one guy that just crushed it in crypto. And he got in like 2014 and just was super young and just kind of followed the whole trend up and made a fortune. And it was great to meet these guys and kind of hang out with them and see their house. And they cashed out at the right time. And he was just like mind blowing. They don't even know, they didn't even know to even like file taxes. Like they're cleaning up their problems now with the US government and all that. But
right,
if you don't have the right people speaking into your life and legit people, the problem is, I feel like a lot of people are like really inflating what they do, what they know, and what they've done. And they haven't had the decades of really concept to really kind of think through the whole comprehensive life architecture, or what information do people need. And they're trying to sell a lot of people this one thing they know, or they're regurgitating really well, which leads people, like you said, down just the crypto path or just the real estate path, and only fragmented areas of that, right? And once you get around people that are truly in depth, they can actually talk to and architect something for you that works for what you want. Where do you want to go? What do you want to make? What do you want to do? How do you want to live? How do you want to think? Like, that's where the gold is in all this. That's why consuming all this information, so you can find the right way to have someone help you think through things, or you can learn to think through it all by learning this whole gamut of information, if that makes sense. Well,
Yeah.
so
No,
keep going.
100%. And I love everything you're talking about. And it goes back to that kind of analysis process. Like you said, if you took the time to figure out how to do taxes, how to do everything A to Z perfectly, like you never would have started your business. You know what I mean? So it's kind of thing where you got to decide to learn how you go and just jump in, right? And just learn how to swim when you're in the water. So it's scary, but at the same time, you just got to go out there and do it, because if you don't, then you're never really going to start. Like, the best time is always now.
And you can do a mea culpa, like shit, I effed up. Like, I'm sorry, IRS, I screwed up. I didn't know. That's, I mean, that's part of their, I would say that's part of their business model, right?
Yeah.
That's what they do. Like, they say, hey, you can't do this. I do mea culpa, but you can't go do it again. You pay your fine, you do your thing. Okay, it's not bad. Get audited. Okay, it's not bad. Be ready to spend the money though. Like, 1 year it got audited. We ran the book super legit. I mean, everything we've ever done from the beginning is trying to build the most solid fortress possible of a company, right? It was a very long-term play. It was constantly make money, reinvest, make money, reinvest, make money, reinvest. I didn't want a lifestyle business. I didn't want a business that one day I was going to have to show up every single day and tell them 80 to run. I did not want that, right? I've already did that once. I didn't want to lose again. I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to go through bankruptcy again. I didn't want to move back in with my parents again. You go bankrupt to 24, it's kind of 23, 24 is disaster, is miserable, you know?
Yeah.
And so I kind of had this vision of like what I wanted to build with Simpluris specifically. And so I built another company very similar to that, didn't work out with ownership and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, I'll go build my own then, right? And so that's when I started Simpluris, I think like 30, that one at 30, 31.
Wow.
And I just let it sail, you know? We grinded, we had all kinds of problems, all kinds of great stories around that. It's very technical. We built this huge software platform that no one will ever know or ever see, but it's massive, right? I mean, it's probably, I don't know, maybe 40 million in development costs at this point, and cheap development costs. If we would have done it in normal developer costs in the US, maybe like would be 120 or 140 probably, because we built and lived in it as we were building it. It's almost like, oh, we bought land, we set up a tent, and then we put up walls around the tent. You know what I mean? And then we kept like trying to build a house while living in the house at the same time. So you're like, oh, you're basically using every component of the software every day and breaking it and fixing it and working all weekend to keep it running. Because of that, now like Simpluris actually, I got to get better at like online marketing. I'm working on it now, Will. Like, I'm not doing a lot of this. I'm usually the guy behind the guy, like secretly involved in all these things. And I'm trying to get out there myself now, even because I want more legit people out there doing this. But it's also, there's not a lot of money being famous unless that's your whole business. So a lot of people that are worth like billions or hundreds and hundreds of millions, you'll never find them. You'll find them like 300 friends on Instagram.
Yeah.
You'll see some random posts. Like, one of my buddies is killing it in crypto. He posts things about pizza. You'd never know. He owns the #1 game. Like, I mean, like, he's got a lot going, and it's like he, you know, fixes the family and pizza. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's mind blowing. It's really mind blowing. And like, I want to get more legit people out there doing this. But when you finally become legit, you don't want to take the time to almost go back too much. So they'll help like a few people in smaller unknown groups. They also don't want to be known. You know what I mean? It's really an odd thing, Will, to see. And these people that really aren't that successful, that are, or their entire business is based on the hype on what they're selling online. Like, literally their entire business is based on the hype, or that's how they're making their money. They're constantly trying to sell people something. You know what I mean? So it's kind of I'm trying to get more legit people out there to work with people that are in the entrepreneur, owner, founder space. Because I like one guy literally cashed out for like 80 something million in a marine business, hooked him up with a friend who was trying to build something in that industry. They're like buddies now. The $80 million guy would do it for free. The other guy would pay whatever the guy wanted. He's helping this guy scale it. And they're like, an online guy right now, they'd be charging, oh, you got to join our mastermind for 100K to get this type of information. This guy's worth 80 million. He doesn't want to go through the hassle of being famous and marketing and blah, 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 and putting masterminds on and blah, blah, blah. But I guarantee that relationship's going to get that guy farther than joining almost 90% of the masterminds out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so because he's going to be able to say the right thing at the right time in the right way, to watch this person go from 0 to 80 million because he's already done it. And I think that's the key factor. And then someone that can take the time to spend like this with you and I and say, okay, well, what do you want? Why are you doing this? Where do you want to go? Tell me. Truth. What do you really want? And then as you're going through this journey, you start getting things you want. You're like, shit, I don't really want that. Like, I don't need that. Unless you want a Lamborghini, go buy the Lamborghini. You know what I mean? Or like, I still want a jet, but I don't want to spend $6 million a year running a Falcon 10X by the Salt yet.
Right.
But if I have a company that's generating $100 million in profit or something, okay, let's get the jet. Because then I need time. I need to buy time to get around. Like, you kind of start thinking like, how do I get to that level of business, right? That's what we're trying to do, is build a company that builds companies and helps companies scale and exit, basically, right? We get ownership, we get equity, we help people grow, we put money into things. Because there aren't people doing it in a way that's, really clean and organized almost. Or you have the VC or the PE side, which is like, they're very much like this without the personal development side. So it's kind of, you need both sides for entrepreneurs, I think. So keep going, Manuel.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's all great stuff. And I love you're talking about the whole mentorship thing as well. And you keep going back on that kind of topic because obviously that kind of helped you get to where you are today.
100%.
You're talking about, you got to know where you want to go. You need someone who's already done it to kind of show you the way. And I think for a lot of younger people out there, they get really intimidated trying to find someone out there that really wants to spend the time with them to take them from step 1 all the way up to step 10. So just from your perspective, like what is, I guess, the best way someone that's younger to go out there and actually find that kind of mentor that's worth the 80 million, that's worth the 100 million, right? That wants to help them see them grow in their own life. Like what's the best way for them to go out there and do that?
Great question. Depends. I mean, this is where I go too technical, man. Like I'm super technical. Like depends. Like if you've got like the time and money a little bit and you're young and your business is doing something, like you're like in the 0 to 4 or 5 employee space. My friend Steve Krebs, like you're like an MMA style guy, you might like his thing. There's these little niches. There's tech stars. Like if you're building something in the tech space all over the nation, there's a company that we just put a lot of capital into called Project 10K for 0 to 90 launches, like in the AI space. And it's, my friend Jared started that one, Yellen. He's out of South Florida. Even Grant put 2 million into that. There's all these little niche spaces. You got to find it. And I hate to say this, but a lot of these things are like almost spiritual. You find these things. You almost like need to ask God or the universe or something and be like, bring me the right people at the right time and trust the signs, ignore the cost. Trust the signs, ignore the cost. You're going to have the right people show up. And they always say that quote is fucking bullshit when you hear it when you're young. You're like, oh, the right person shows up at the right time. Like, F you. That's a bullshit quote. But it really does if you're doing something right. You can't be locked in your dorm room playing video games all day and expect something to happen. But if you're building a business, you're doing something, you're making momentum towards something, people magically show up.
Yeah.
If you're doing the right thing for the right reason at the right time. So Matthew McConaughey told my buddy Jeremy Finlay on their last launch. So Matthew had the largest like personal development launch in the history of the world, right? With his program that he just launched recently. My buddy Jeremy did all the filming for that. He did all the production. He made the whole course thing. He did the whole live event. His production team. He owns a company called Salesumentary. And when Matthew walked in that day to do the live event, he's like, man, this is good. He's like, we're here for the right reason, at the right time, with the right people.
Hmm.
And Jeremy told me this story. We were down in Tulum hanging out for a friend of ours' birthday. And it was just this magical comment because, Conahey, he's done it, man. He's built it. He's got a lot he's done. He's been extremely, extremely successful. And he just impacted and was able to attract 2.4 million people to sit there for hours, helping them become better humans, better entrepreneurs, better people around the world. And I think if you're doing something right and you know where you want to go and why you want to go, and you're doing everything you can to go that direction, the people magically appear, the opportunities appear, and you choose. And I would spend every single dollar you have over and over again the rest of your life to get in the right rooms, get around the right people, travel to the right thing, do whatever you can to keep getting around these people that think different, that act different, that are doing something different. Hire the best consultants. If you don't have money, volunteer, go work for free. Go wash and detail their cars, like whatever it takes to get around them, because it's going to change who you are. And the only thing you truly can change is the way you think. Like Steve Jobs said, think different, right? You've got to think different. Like, okay, well, what did Steve Jobs do? If you really research all this, dude, he had all these people he'd go on walk and talks with, all these consultants, he was pulling in the top people from all these different things. And people don't ever realize that how much time he spent thinking at that level. And he was brilliant at it. He may have been an asshole when he was younger and there's all this negative or whatever, but he still accomplished great things because he was constantly pulling in these brilliant people for different aspects, from manufacturing, organizing. There's a whole guy that was like one of the top guys in manufacturing that he sucked in, and they do all these walk and talks. I can't remember the book that guy wrote, but I'm trying to think what it is, but it's great. And I think that's where I think if you're young, you've got to just keep going and the opportunity will come. Yeah. So keep going, Will.
No, I love that. You got to do the right thing for the right reasons, right? And the right people will come at the right time. So that's so well said, because so many people out there, like you said, they're rushing it, they're trying to make it work, trying to force it, where maybe it's just not supposed to work, right? But like you said, if you're doing the right thing, got the right conscience in your mind to help other people, then the right people are just going to show up. And what I love about that, and what you said as well, is that a lot of people on my podcast has also said how important God was and kind of their journey, because he brought people to him, right? And whether you want to call it luck or God, like something will happen because you're going down the right path where someone will help you along the way.
So, I swear to God, it sounds like
it sounds
weird
crazy.
and spooky wooky, but I swear to God, I don't like to say God, but like it's true.
Yeah.
Like there's something magical. You call it God, call it spirit, I don't know, whatever you want to call this. And I'll call it God. But it just does. It just happens. You're like, why is this person on this plane at this time? Like, why? Like, of all the people I get to sat to in the world, I get a guy that's in private equity that does analysis on my flight from Cancun to LAX the other day. And it's like, thank you, God, or whatever you want to do. Like, it was the perfect conversation. This guy was giving me this, one of the top PE companies in the nation. He's deeply involved in the analytical department of like projections and deals and all this stuff. And it was the most fascinating conversation, like where to put time, energy, and money over the next few years with interest rates and what deals are going on. And it's just perfect. And if you live this life with just open, and the stuff just comes. And if you're waking up, you're working out, you're writing, love notes to your girlfriend, your parents, saying your gratitude notes to your friends. I'm grateful and thankful. Like you're building your body, you're doing something, meditation, prayer, or something. You're studying, you're learning every day. You're investing with the right people, friends, family. These things magically appear. You attract this stuff just starts coming into you. And then if you're willing to do the work and actually finish it, more just keeps coming and more keeps coming until you're like, man, my schedule's really full. I don't know if I can take much more on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where the wealth comes in, like legit wealth, where you can like make a lot of money and never show back up to work again. Yeah. And it just keeps coming. And it really happens. It's very true. If I can go from a dishwasher to this, anybody can. Trust me. Anybody can. Oh, I'm not a genius. I'm not good looking. I'm not some charismatic whatever. Like it's just the basics work, man.
Yeah.
So go
That's
for it.
very true. Yeah, I love you brought that up because this book as well, High Performance Habits.
Oh yeah, Brendan.
Yeah, a lot of stuff he's talking about here is just like you're talking about. So like affirmations, your gratitude journal, all that kind of stuff. Like it seems minuscule and kind of like pointless when you're doing it, but like it just builds up over time, puts you in the right mental state, gives you the energy needed, and that's what it's all about. So I love you brought that
And
up.
he's done a great job. Like Brendan's never really built any companies besides his own company selling that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But he's done a really fantastic job taking all this information, packaging it up, and reselling it in an organized, systematic way, and helping people think differently around this education space and growth, personal development space. And one of my friends, Randy Garn, is actually part owner of that company.
Oh, wow.
If you get a chance to like Google Randy Garn, he's great. Randy's like the guy behind the guy. He built one of the companies doing all the back end coaching for guys like Tony Robbins back in the day, and he still facilitates the quarterly planning session for Tony Robbins, Dean Grazioso, and those guys. He's amazing, and he's kind of like in the back end of all these like, all these famous names, kind of in some ways. Yeah. And Randy's and now I think he's becoming a famous name too. And he sold one of his companies for a lot of money. Keeps investing in a bunch of like VC style companies. He just helped. He was partnered with the guys that own what's that hotel? The cool hotel off the strip in Vegas. Okay. I'm gonna go blank. I'm gonna go blank with their names. The Maloof brothers, right? And he was partners with the Maloofs in one of their VC, companies they had going, and this charity. So it's interesting how these are very small worlds as the numbers get bigger, right? Yeah. Like small businesses, like 0 to 1 million, there's like 5 or 6 million of those, right? Legit, like businesses in that range. By the time you get to 10 to 20, it's like there's like 94,000. By the time you get to 20 to 50, it goes down to like, it just keeps dropping these numbers, right? In America, right. Super fast. So these worlds become super small. You know what I mean? And you just kind of start networking and getting to know people. Like even now, by you doing this show, I guarantee you're going to start seeing how very few people make it to these next levels, if that makes any sense. I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah. I definitely know what you're talking about. Yeah. And it's just like the old adage, like it's hard to climb to the top of that mountain, right? But once you reach the top of that one mountain, it's a lot easier to go from peak to peak once you're already on top of that one mountain. That's what you're talking about. It's like once you reach that realm of whatever, your network's just going to naturally increase, and you're going to find other people up there as well. And so that's who you kind of work with. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is how long did it take you time frame from when you first got that entrepreneurship bug to when you could officially say, like, you know what, I made it, right? And the reason why I'm asking that is because so many people out there, they want to experience that success quickly. Like you said, you see so many people that are 23 that hit it huge in crypto, right, and just are good for life. And there's so many other people that kind of just get discouraged, right, in their entrepreneurship journey because they fail. They don't see a lot of results. They're going bankrupt, for instance, over time. The business doesn't seem like it's working out well. It's like, what's your advice to them? How long did it take for you to kind of just be able to say, I made it?
So truth. I don't think I said it until I was probably sitting on a beach a couple of years ago. I was completely free of the company. I had some other things going. It was all kind of running. My wife and I, we bought a car in Florida. Long story, the kids are gone. And we're like literally, it's been about 3 months kind of cruising through central Mexico, surfing from Sayulita, I don't know if you know where this is at, all the way down to a place called Salinas Cruz with these amazing right waves in Oaxaca. Okay. We're literally in this one beach, and there's like this private cove. We had this like cottage house connected to this other hotel thing. And it was like a private beach. Like there was nobody on this beach. So this one random girl that would kind of like hike her way over to do yoga by herself on our beach every morning. It's Mexico. It's random. Like this, it was awesome. And like, I'm sitting there going like, this is it. Like, this is what you kind of work for. The income's coming in. The companies are running. I got this time and freedom, and I've got this amazing life. This is as good as it gets, right? And then I was able to live like, I've been able to live like this for years now. And it's like, I don't know if I made it, but I made it for the 14-year-old me.
Yeah. That's powerful, man. I mean,
and that goes, what do you want? Why do you want it? Like, what's the vision in your mind? Like, what do you see possible? And like, and you write these things down, and when you're like, whatever, you're reading that book and you're writing these things down, and things are showing up in your mind, like the house you want, the lifestyle you want, the relationship you want, what is it that you really, really want? And then that's when you've made it. Like you've got what you wanted specifically. And then when you get there, you're like, oh shit, well, what do I want now? What do I do now with my life? And it's this ever unfolding, ever evolving creation, right? And that's why I said you got to keep doing the core four, the body, being, balance, and business every day. What are you learning in business? How are you taking care of your body? Like just every day, like do this mentally, meditate, study, breathe, whatever it is that's in being. What is your balance? Like how are you connecting with the loved ones in your life, your girlfriend, your buddies, like if you're married, like if you're watching this, your parents, like staying connected with family. I talked to my deceased cousin's wife yesterday. You know what I mean? Just checking on her. And and it's like you want this full life, this have it all lifestyle. Now, and have it all means, what do you want? How do you want to have it all? What does that look like to you? I've got friends that are super happy doing surfing and yoga in Costa Rica. I think I like going in. I think a few months of surfing and yoga in Costa Rica sounds great. I got bored. You know what I mean? If I did that, like if I'm not constantly doing something, I get bored. So I want to keep building companies. I want to keep building people. For me, that works for me. Other people, they just want to do art projects and do ceramics and raise kids. Okay, great. Whatever it is for you, that's the goal, right? That's what you want. Go ahead and manifest that, right? Find what that is, but it's got to be truth, not just because someone else. Do you really want a Lamborghini? Okay, go rent one. Go drive it around. See if you really want it. Go save up the money. Go buy it for a day. Go rent it. Okay, it's cramped. It's tiny. It's like doesn't feel comfortable. You know what I mean? I'll take a Range Rover any day of the week, right? Like a simple or right now we bought that Ford Platinum XL whatever expedition thing. We drove all over Mexico in, and we're leaving that at the Cancun condo with the place we bought in Cancun, right? And we like Cancun. It's close to the airport, it's close to the city, close to the hotel zone, close to go surfing, close to Playa del Carmen and Tulum. It's just for us, we like it there. It's super chill. The weather's great year round. And we drove all over Mexico looking for what we wanted. We traveled all over the world figuring out what cities we like would have the most energy, the most growth. And for us, we like that people coming at like 25 million people a year flying in and out of Cancun. Great. There's always friends coming in to do masterminds, vacations, whatever it is. I love that, right? I love hanging out with new people all the time. Go to a resort for date night for one night. Okay, great. We escaped for one night and then we're back. We tried living in all-inclusive resorts for several months. Next thing you know, we're drinking too much and eating like crap. Not really healthy. So all-inclusive resorts are not our life, right? We found that out. And I think you have to test it too. So Will, ready?
Yeah.
What do you want, man? What do you want to manifest in your life? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
What does it look like? What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to do? What is this dream that has you sitting on a conference call with me today in the middle of the week in your dorm room when you could be hanging out with a bunch of hot college girls or something? You know what I mean? What do you want, man? What's showing up for you? What's this dream that you have that's driving you to do this? What is it? Why is it? Where's it coming from? What does that look like, man?
Yeah. No, I'm glad again if I brought that up because I got it right here. The dream board, right? It's everything you want to do, what kind of business you want to be in, and why I'm doing the podcast because I want to be a top 10 podcast business host, and I want to inspire a lot of people to go out there and really change their lives as well. So that's why I'm doing this. But just like you said, you really got to figure it out for yourself and kind of understand what success actually looks like to you, right?
So what I heard you said is you want to be on the top 10 podcast business host.
Yep. Entrepreneur business. Yep.
Entrepreneur and business. So oh God, what's his name out of Puerto Rico? He's living in Puerto Rico now. He's got the Entrepreneur on Fire thing, right?
As it John Diaz? Is that what his name is?
Right? Like that basically is what you're talking about?
Yeah. It's one of my avenues, what I want to do. Yeah. Because I love connecting with people, love the network, all that stuff. It's fun.
Got it. So let me ask you this. What's holding you back from from accelerating it now?
I would say my lack of knowledge on marketing and how to properly grow it, the way it should be grown. I feel like I'm really lacking in that area. So I think that's number one, the biggest problem that I'm having.
Who do you know that has a podcast that might be able to help you market it, that you could talk to market this better, and what are you not doing currently to do what you do know, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So I actually just had a podcast with a guy like 2 days ago, and he's introduced me to a younger guy as well that has like a top podcast. So I'm meeting with him tomorrow to kind of discuss what he's doing to market his podcast. So I'm excited for that conversation. But it's just simple things like that. I don't know a lot of those top podcasters like in my current contacts like I should. But hopefully that's the right step in the direction. But that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, just trying to learn.
I got a few friends that are there doing that, and like in a pretty good big way. And that's their main revenue stream, right? Yeah. And think about like what revenue stream you can make along the way to hyper fund it, right? You know what I mean? Like that would be one of the things I would suggest is like, what's a revenue model going to be? And kind of think that through a little bit in advance if you can think that through. And what are people doing? Is it just going to be the YouTube channel itself and you become the next Lewis Howes, right? I mean, Lewis Howes started with like really nothing. And this one girl that I got to meet at one of the masterminds, she was like right there with them from day one, pretty much, like building it. Yeah. And it was pretty fascinating because they really started with nothing and just grinding it out, getting shows, getting people there, till the money started coming in, the book, the YouTube, like, all the little things started stacking up. And one of the companies I own now, it's called DreamX Studios in Newport Beach. And we're actually trying to open up more DreamX Studios around the nation. So there needs to be a more methodical process for shooting content, creating content, changing of like, I'm just in a condo right now, but if we were in the studio, the lights would be better, like the cameras, all those things, and then do it in like a mass production way because everybody needs this now, right? And I think a lot of people are doing it. So we're just one of the players in that. Building out this content creation machine is a challenge. I got some friends too that are doing the edits in Cyprus and Sri Lanka. These guys are super high end, working for some of the top guys. One of them was working for probably the number one guy, I think, hustling across the business space right now, probably doing the most interviews of anybody out there. You and I can talk in private about that if you want to DM me or text me or something, Will. If you have some cash, you can hire him. It would probably serve you well to do that. And that's what I said. You control the money and the marketing, you can control anything. You control the message, right? So the money and the marketing drives the message. Does that make sense? Like, or the message is going to attract the money, which then attracts the marketing. You know what I mean? So keep going, man.
No, yeah, just got to figure out that funnel. So I want to be time conscious for sure on this podcast, but everything you said so far is just super inspiring. And I love how, like even in your story, for instance, you 24, you went bankrupt, right? And you could have very easily said, at this point, I'm just going to throw in the bag, get a 9-to-5 job like all my friends are doing, graduating college. But instead, you stuck it out, right? And you still made, a business work, whether it was 10 years later or 5 years later, whatever it is, you still stuck it out. And to me, that's super powerful and inspiring to see, right? And motivating. But I guess just my last question for you before we hop off here is like everything you've done so far, everything you've built, like it's so easy for you to say, you throw in the bag, I'm done. Like I'm just going to enjoy life from now on. But what keeps you motivated to kind of keep going? And kind of like, what are your goals going forward here for the next couple of years? And like, what do you want to see you get done in your own life?
So I want to be what I wish I could have found. I spent a lot of money on a lot of people that really didn't really build a company. Yeah. They didn't really build the infrastructure. They never did anything. They were coaches, consultants who were great salespeople. They were great at pitching masterminds. And you always learn something. You always benefit from all these things. But I think if more people were given the right knowledge at the right time by the right person, there would be less depression in business, less suffering, less people committing suicide in business, less people that, are having shitty families and effed up families because they're so consumed by the business side of things and the problems And a lot of these things are self-inflicted wounds in entrepreneurship, and a lot of the owner founder space that I work in, 0 to 20 million, 0 to 75 employee space is kind of like really probably the niche that I've grown up with and I've lived in over and over again. If a company comes into our realm that's larger than that, I've got partners that, had 900 employees. They can deal with, those side of the conversations. But in this space, these are your more mom and pop, 0 to 20 million, 0 to 75 employee space. They don't have all the education. They haven't been given all the money. They don't know all the things to do, nor are surrounded by the right people enough. And they suffer the most, and yet they're the ones that truly drive the American dream, or not even the American dream anymore, just the dream of freedom around the world. And I feel like that dream is disappearing extremely fast with the choices a lot of people are voting in worldwide, which we fought very hard over the last few hundred years in this world, to get rid of dictatorships, to get rid of kings, to get rid of people like Putin that are torturing an entire nation, and the world just sits by and watches it. There are African countries that are riddled with so much corruption, they can't get out of their own way. And there's dictators that are driving that, the corruption, the dictators. And if more entrepreneurs don't rise right now, or more people own their own paths, not blame the government and blame everybody else, actually take self-ownership. Entrepreneurs take self-ownership, where employees, oh, I need to get paid more. My boss isn't paying me enough, blah, blah, blah. The pain, the problem. And it's great. I'm not against working for a company at all. I'm against blaming other people for your problem. And entrepreneurs are usually the ones that end up driving the innovation in this world, the change that we need to hold this world together so the whole fucking thing doesn't blow up, right? You've got this current administration. I mean, this is mind-blowing what's going on. And you're just watching this, and the whole world's watching, and we're just like, and America is holding freedom. And if freedom stops being basically paid for by Americans with the security of the world right now, we are the security system of the world. If other countries like it or not, we do a pretty great job of making sure there's fairness. You give China the reins, they're not going to be fair. They're going to basically subject us like slaves with literally chains around our neck, like they're doing to their own people, or Russia, or any of these other. And now you have Russia, you have China, you have India. They're all joining forces together with Afghanistan. Like, this is not people that are there to like help the world. They're there to help their own interests right now. And I guarantee if entrepreneurs rose around the world and we had great entrepreneurs worldwide, these corrupt governments would slowly disappear. Somewhere, somehow, someone's going to be benevolent and say, I'll risk my life, my time, my energy to build a better country. And the more we can do this in America and share how to run companies, what to do, when to do it, how to be a leader, all these aspects of complex entrepreneurship, and then we help the people worldwide do this, the world can be a different place in 40 years. Hopefully we don't have as much disease and famine, and people are working more collaboratively. But right now we had globalization occur. We've already hit the peak of that. And I feel like we're on the tail end going back down. We're going to have deglobalization now happening. And that's not going to be good for the world. We're going to go back in dark ages. We're going to go back to that type of thing where people are segmented out, not working together. And then my hope is that the TikTok generation that is global, that is connected, that is sharing all this stuff on social media. I mean, like the styles the girls are wearing. Like, I've got a 13-year-old daughter, so I'm really into this now, right? I've learned more about makeup than I ever wanted to know. Well, I go shopping every week for makeup with her. Right? I've never gone shopping for makeup once in my entire life, right? Yeah. And we're there every week. That's our bonding time. And like the styles are so similar from Prague to California to Cancun to Thailand. And you can just see the world's connected, and we need good people rising.
Yes.
I need people that will take ownership. I need people that become self-sufficient. I need people that will rise and say, I'm willing to sacrifice everything and pay for it out of my pocket, out of my earnings, to try to move something forward in a positive way, and have those logistical debates so that evil doesn't rise and come back over again. And it's everywhere, man. There's a lot of evil still left in this world. And the stuff that's happening, I mean, look at what's happening in Ukraine. Russia out of nowhere decides they're just going to attack another country. and bomb it. And we've got people from Ukraine and Russia flooding into where we live. And I hear the back end stories of this. It's mind blowing what the world's allowing happen, and all the genocides that have occurred. We're going to go back to more genocides again if we don't rise as a world population. So that's it, man. Well,
yeah, I mean, that is so well said. And basically what you're saying is entrepreneurs are needed more now than ever before. All right. Yes. And so, like you said, we all do need to rise up. And like I said, business ownership is the final form of like freedom. Right. Yes. You're not censored by your boss. You can say what you really want to say. You can have the rights and beliefs that you really want to have. And that ultimately is what drives the country forward. That's what makes America so great to begin with. So that being said, Troy, I mean, I really enjoyed having you on here today. You said a lot of really good stuff. Before we hop off, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, man. If anyone's out there that really needs help with something, and you think I can help with anything, please honestly reach out. I do this as much to make money, if not for free, just to help people move their lives forward. And I'm accessible. If I don't have time, I will find somebody that can help you in some way, shape, or form move your life forward in this entrepreneur journey. We can refer you to things, man, give you an insight at the right time in the right place. Follow me on Instagram if you can, @HoffmanTroy. I'm also on LinkedIn. I have no TikTok going yet, Will. I'm failing there. On Facebook, you can find me and text me, man. Reach out. Honestly, if you're an entrepreneur and you genuinely really need help and will actually do something with it, my cell phone number is 850-322-8261. Legitimately text me and I will be there for you as much as I possibly can.
Wow. That was awesome, guys. He did just give you his cell phone number. So Troy, thank you so much for that. That's amazing. All right, guys, there you have it. Troy Hoffman, thank you so much for joining me today.
Will, have fun, sir. Thanks, man.
Nowhere that we go is a one-way street. Nothing that we love is a one-day key. And if we gon' do it, we gon' do this now. And if we say we